Welcome to Whiskey Movie Club. This week we're drinking Heaven's Door Tennessee Bourbon and talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Listen. It's awesome. It's the mark of quality. Or the mark of, Bob Dylan. Yeah.
Your love of cork sounds.
I do love cork sounds. I mean, come on, I'm not the only one, right? Cork sounds are awesome.
They're fun.
All right, so we're drinking Heaven's Door Tennessee Bourbon. This is Bob Dylan's whiskey, bourbon. It's bourbon from Tennessee. It smells tasty. You like it?
Yeah. It's got a little bit of a burn to it at the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the rye count in this? Because it's a little spicy.
Yeah.
Ooh, that opens up the airways a little.
It's also 90 proof, so that'll be a little more burn. This actually doesn't list its what's in it. So
Either way, tasty.
Yeah,
It's got a spice. Yeah. It's got a burn.
it's got kind of like a rye taste to it. I don't know if there is rye in it or not. And it's also got a cool design. Like, you can see that. It's got what looks... Oh, that's right. It's Bob Dylan's gate, right? Isn't that the... I don't know. I'm acting like I don't know what I'm talking about. And I really don't know, but it's a cool design. It's a cool bottle. And I buy my whiskey based on the bottle. Hence why we bought this one. All right, so the 9th film by famed auteur Quentin Tarantino. So let's talk about what this movie's about, and then let's jump into thoughts.
What is it about?
It's about Hollywood in 1969.
Kind of.
Kind of? Yeah, I mean...
Also about the 60s. Also about...
Hippies?
Charles Manson a little, but not.
He's in it for, a scene? Sorry. Yeah, we won't want to get into that. But, it's about what it's like to be an aging actor in 1969 Hollywood as the studio system is fading out. It circles around basically two principal characters. Rick Dalton, a TV cowboy, who is starting to age out of the genre a little bit.
Yeah.
He's starting to fade.
And he never quite made the jump from TV to film.
Right.
So he kind of feels like he never quite got the chance to be the star he really thought he was.
He never became like Steve McQueen.
Yes.
And now he's no longer becoming the hero. He's becoming what they call in the movie the heavy, the bad guy, the
big bad.
The big bad, yeah. So it's about Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and his best friend, sidekick, and stunt double Cliff Boone, played by Brad Pitt. A little bit of a weird bromance there.
There's a point where they describe them as the type of friend who's more than a buddy, a little less than a wife.
That's true.
Right.
But yeah, it's essentially their misadventures in 1969, and that's the extent to the plot. I mean, really.
That's the closest you can get. Yeah.
At least with all of Tarantino's other movies, there is some narrative going throughout the film. This is very similar to Hail Caesar, the Coen Brothers movie, in that it's a collection of really cute scenes from vintage Hollywood. Hail Caesar at least had a...
kind of an overarching plot about a kidnapping. And
right, there was a story to follow. This, you could take out whole scenes, and the ending would make just as much sense.
Yeah, you could take out whole arcs.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll get into that in a minute, but it's essentially just Tarantino's love letter to his favorite era in Hollywood.
I think that's probably the best way to describe it.
It's really funny. It's at times a bit violent. It definitely subverts your expectations. It is most definitely a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Definitely.
It's shot really well. The soundtrack is perfect. Every movie of his has had a perfect soundtrack since Reservoir Dogs.
I think so.
Actually, Reservoir Dogs ruined... What's the song they sing in the ear cut scene?
Stuck in the Middle.
Stuck in the Middle. If that comes on the radio, or if I'm at like a...
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Yeah, oh, dude, I could be standing like in the middle of like Macy's, and then that comes on, and I'm just like...
Just think about cutting ears off?
Yeah, nope.
Well, it's come to one of those things when you think of a Tarantino film, you think of the soundtrack. What songs is he going to choose for this? And it's usually something unique and something catchy, and it's something that actually fits with what's going on.
Totally. And this is a movie that is way more style than substance. Like, it is all charm, all style. It is doing its best to be the coolest fucking movie made this year. And it kind of is in a lot of ways.
It's got a lot of real neat parts. There's a lot of things I really like about this movie. A lot of moments that are cool. But again, it was like, I kind of just kept waiting for the plot to start.
There is no plot.
Yeah, and
but it's got a lot of swagger.
Yeah, and I think it took me to the end of the movie where I was like, oh, this is what this movie's about.
It's all let me start that over. It's all culminating to the fight scene at the end. But the thing that's lacking in this movie is the tension.
Yeah, there's no build up to that. That just sort of happens.
It's kind of you if you know history, you know that it's the Manson family, and you know that Rick Dalton's neighbor, Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski, that they die that year. They get brutally murdered by the Manson family, and the whole movie's building up to that. If you know the history, if you don't, things are very random. It's not a very well plotted movie. The editing is insane, and not in a good like Martin Scorsese way. It's just it's bad enough to win an Oscar, I think.
It might be.
Actually, so we've kind of started talking about what we think of it. So let's just go full head into that without spoilers. Jason, in 90 seconds or less, what the hell do you think about this movie?
Okay. So overall, like you were saying, I like the style, I like the look, I like the feel, and I think there was several starting points, a couple things where you almost got that tension you were looking for, but it didn't grab. I thought Leonardo did a great job in his character. I'd be surprised if he wasn't nominated for an award somewhere along the way. Brad Pitt's character, I thought he did well. He was the stunt man, and he had this air of mystery about him. Like, he had all these rumors of like, oh, he may or may not have killed his wife. He may have did this, he did that. And he had like this...
He's kind of a badass.
He's kind of a badass, and the rumors around him were helped sell the badassery. But it was nothing like... what I expected going into this was not what I got. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. It was just way different than I was expecting, and there was a lot of really good scenes and good moments. The scene with Leonardo DiCaprio and the little girl talking about his career, and he's crafting that and coming to the realization of that he's on the downward slope of things. I thought that was a good scene. I think that was probably the best scene in there for him. And then the ending was, without giving any spoilers away, was just freaking crazy.
Just insane.
I didn't see any of that coming, and it was like, holy shit, what did I just see?
Which is how, like, I mean, the ending it's the closest to like Inglourious Basterds or Hateful Eight, where it just evolves into something fucking crazy.
Yes, yeah. So I don't think I need the full 90 seconds. I think that
was good. I think you exceeded 90 seconds.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't need it.
Well, he didn't need 3 hours, but he took it.
Yeah, I think Jason said it really well. There's a lot of scenes that are really well crafted, really well edited and directed. But it's like you're taking samples of like 3 or 4 different movies that don't really blend together, and you're just kind of left wanting more of any one of those movies.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, oh, I want to see more of the buddy adventure between, Cliff and Rick. Yeah, thank you. Or I want to see more of the kind of the neighbors and their kind of situation. Is there tension between the different kind of love triangle that's there, and Sharon's rising actress kind of track there? That'd have been like an interesting story to see. I would have been fine seeing kind of more of this mystery of Cliff kind of digging into this other stuff that's going on and maybe accidentally stumbling into the Manson's family stuff. Like, there was a lot of plot threads that kind of started and then stopped.
A lot of false starts.
Yeah, and then at the end I was like, oh, okay, well, the movie's over now.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with both you guys. It's a really cool movie. It has hella swagger. It's really funny at times. There are scenes that I was just laughing very loudly in the theater. But it never coalesces into a narrative. The whole thing feels like like an inside joke, and I was never brought in on the inside, right? Like, if you were in Hollywood in 1969, this is probably the greatest film ever made for you. If you're born in the 80s like me, it's a cool acid trip through 1969.
Sure.
It almost, it feels like if Rick Dalton was alive today and he had Alzheimer's and he was looking back on 1969 telling a story.
I think this movie will be great to put on like during a party.
Oh, totally.
You have stuff going on, and you could you tune in for 5 minutes and be like, "Oh, I love this scene." Okay, cool. Going back to what I need to get another drink.
I mean, the scenes, you can watch each scene individually, and it's just really entertaining. It just never comes together. I love the ending. The ending was unpredictable. It was really funny, and it's just I don't know how to. I don't want to give anything away because you just need to go in just completely ignorant of what's going to happen. It's crazy. Is this a must-see in theaters?
I don't know that it's a must-see in theaters. I think it's a must-see.
I think you should see it. Only reason I would recommend it in theaters is they play around a little bit with aspect ratios.
Yes.
They go from 4:3 to CinemaScope and back. They move around a little bit, and I don't know if that will portray super well on a regular TV.
But do you need to see it in because he's doing the film roadshow with it, kind of like he did for Hateful Eight. Hateful Eight was shot in 70 millimeter, and they did the roadshow projecting in 70 millimeter. I saw it in 70 millimeter. I didn't really.
Yeah,
it was.
I don't think you need to see it. It's not like an Avengers where you need to see that stuff on the effects on the big screen.
The effects, the sound,
Right. I think you can see this at home, and a lot of times with Tarantino movies, the second and third time the movie gets a little better each time you see it. So.
This is definitely something that gets better the more you watch it and the more you drink while watching it.
Yeah. I would say if you're itching to go see something in the theaters and you've already seen kind of the obvious choices, you've already seen Lion King and you've already seen, Avengers and Spider-Man. It's fine to see this in theaters. I would say go see this before seeing...
What about Stuber? Would you see this before Stuber?
I would see this before seeing Stuber.
Which one did you have more fun in?
Ooh. I think I had more fun in this movie.
Yeah, I think so too. The ending was better. Okay, so let's dive into spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, it's time to go see it, or if you're not going to see it, just keep watching. But I think you should see the movie. It's fun. It's a movie you need to see without knowing what's going to happen. You may know a little bit about history, but if you know anything about Tarantino, he doesn't follow history, and it's not going to end the way you think it's going to end. So let's jump into spoilers. I think we should start with Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, their performances.
Sure.
I think they were fucking awesome. Both of them. Incredibly charming, really funny.
Good chemistry.
Great chemistry. I'd love to see more stuff with them. I think they were they were the best part of the movie.
I agree. I remember thinking halfway through the film, sometimes you see the actors playing the role, and Leonardo just kind of disappeared into that role, and he became Rick Dalton, and he was just that guy. Yeah. I wasn't thinking that's an actor playing a character. So, and I felt like he was in
super powerful performance. He's so good, and I think a lot of people hate on him still because of Titanic. And Romeo and Juliet, and he's just this pretty boy. But he's in my opinion, one of the best actors living today. And there's a reason that the top directors living today have cast him.
Oh yeah. No, sorry. I was just gonna say I thought he did a fantastic job of basically playing several different characters, because he plays Rick Dalton, the person, and that has a character that he's playing. And
with the stutter and then
the stutter, a little bit of an accent. He's kind of unsure of himself. He's very emotional. And then he plays Rick Dalton, the actor who's playing characters named, Dakota, whatever.
Well, it's not Dakota, it's Dekatu.
Dekatu, and these kind of Western characters. And those characters have different personalities depending on which character he's playing. So he's playing an actor portraying different characters, and he does all of that really well.
It's perfect. He's. I think you were talking about this earlier. He's gonna get nominated for an Academy Award for this.
I'd be surprised if he did.
Yeah, it was, and if he won, it would be deserving. Brad Pitt, a little bit less complex of a character, but has just as much swagger as any Steve McQueen movie. He was fantastic. Let's talk about Margot Robbie, who did great in it, but I feel like you could have cut her storyline entirely and the movie would have been the same movie.
Yeah. Right.
Like just
I
cut.
feel she was kind of eye candy for the movie a little bit.
Oh,
Absolutely.
totally. She's Margot Robbie. If you can cast her, why not? So she was just to sell tickets.
The entire purpose of her character is to go to the movie theater so she can put her feet up so everyone can be forced to look at her feet.
She's the new Uma Thurman.
That's exactly what that was.
This had a crazy amount of cameos, though, from like Timothy Olyphant, who I love from Deadwood and Justified and Santa Clarita Diet. Justified is one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and he's amazing. He was weird with black hair in this, though.
Right.
The black hair, and they made his ears pop out, so he looked kind of like 1950s cartoony.
A little bit.
But he still had
It kind of worked for him because he was playing a 60s
Like a
cowboy,
white hat cowboy,
a
yeah.
white hat cowboy, so it kind of worked. I thought it was fine.
And Al Pacino had 2 scenes,
Yeah.
but he was basically playing Al Pacino as an agent. And like Kurt Russell, playing a similar character as he was in
Death Proof.
Death Proof, a little less psychotic.
Right.
His wife was psychotic in the movie.
Yeah. And then just also narrator.
And which is weird.
It was weird because the movie doesn't start with a narration.
It has some narration in the beginning, and it might be the same guy, but it might be different. I don't remember.
I think it was the TV reporter at the
The
beginning
TV
interview.
reporter interviewed him.
Which is a great scene.
Interview. That was a great opening to the movie.
So is it true you carry his load?
Yeah, I'd say that's about what I do. And just the last act of the movie, just a good chunk of it, just narrated by Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
But stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it keeps playing into the exact time things are happening. Like that's going to be important somehow. Like the timing of something's going to work out a way that's like, oh, they just missed it by 5 minutes, and it's like, no, that didn't matter.
But that
at
was
all.
the whole movie. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
I was gonna say for me with the time stuff, I'm like, oh, we're stair stepping to where this is the Manson stuff, where this is where the they're gonna get it here anytime now. They're gonna get it here anytime, and as the timeline just kept going and going and going.
With just really weird, but Tarantino does that really well, and that it's in Inglourious Bastards. That's that scene, the milk scene, right? It's so perfect. It's one of the best scenes ever filmed, especially for tension. And it's just a bunch of them. It's the 2 of them doing a bunch of very mundane things and talking, but the tension is building like crazy. And here, people are doing mundane things, but the tension never builds.
Yeah, it's just things.
There's 2 scenes that have a lot of tension. It's the teen at the
compound.
the compound, the ranch,
sure.
which you're like, oh my god, the entire he's dead. He's right.
Shit was gonna hit the fan.
Yeah, and he goes back and what's his face? Dern. Michael Dern, right? Bruce Dern. Bruce Dern.
yeah.
Like he basically repeats everything the girl said. He goes, "Yeah, we're gonna watch FBI tonight. I need my nap, otherwise she gets upset at me. Oh, does she hurt you? No, I just don't want to disappoint you." You're like, and he's a grumpy old blind bastard. Exactly what they said. It's all this tension, all this building for nothing. And I kind of, okay, that's okay, but that was the whole movie.
Yeah. And sooner or later, you want the tension to pay off.
Got to be something, and it kind of does in that end scene where they break into Leonardo DiCaprio's house instead of the Polanski house.
Yeah.
And
Just get the wrong house, which I thought was a little bit weird because they were parked up there, planning to do it. And then Leonardo DiCaprio comes out of his house and oh, that was.
they decide to kill because they go there to kill Polanski because that's what Charles Manson said, which is true in history, right?
Yeah.
But then Leonardo DiCaprio comes out with his fucking blender,
blender of
margarita,
margaritas at
and
midnight.
he's fucking psychotic. Like you got the nuts on that dude to come out to that car and start screaming at him. And the guy's he's got a gun, but he's crying because he's so scared of this crazy person. They go down. Then the Asian chick is like, "Oh, I got this crazy idea. Let's kill the people who taught us how to murder."
That was the switch. I kind of zoned out for a minute there, I guess.
And they get all starstruck.
because they were like, no, we're going to go kill, we're going to go stick to the plan.
Right.
And then I thought they just botched the plan.
See, I was with you on that one, and then my wife was on the same.
So they were going to go, my understanding is, I could be wrong, there was a lot of things in this movie that don't make a lot of sense and weren't told really well, and this is one of them. But I think they were going to go in and kill Rick Dalton and then go to the Polanski house and do what Charles Manson told them to do.
I'd have to rewatch that scene.
but-
You're probably right.
I do love that scene because there is some of that Tarantino tension, but because Cliff Boone, played by Brad Pitt, is tripping on acid, he's just laughing. And I mean, one of my favorite lines is when it washes over him and he goes, I know you. You're that ginger fuck. And then you're tech something. You were on a horse.
You're on the horsey.
Yeah.
You were on a horsey. And it's like, I'm the devil. I'm here to do the devil's work. It's like, no, it was something stupider than that.
Yeah, that was.
It's like, kill him, Tex.
He's like,
Tex. That's what it was.
I could probably watch that scene on
That
repeat.
was pretty good.
Because then he's able to pull his wits together long enough to whistle to the dog, and the dog just goes to town on Tex's leg, that nutsack, and then Cliff throws the dog food at the chick's face.
Breaks her face.
That's right.
It's the only way to describe what he does.
That's right, because she's on the ground like, ah! He's screaming.
Mangled face.
All while Leonardo DiCaprio's in the pool with his giant headphones, like looking like Princess Leia just floating in the pool.
I knew the second they showed him with the headphones on and the other neighbors putting on the record, I was like, things are about to go down and no one's going to know.
what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why I didn't predict it. Anytime like something really horrible is like, it's like the Hitchcock thing. You know, you show a gun, a gun's going to show
Chekhov's
up.
gun, right?
Chekhov's gun, yes, not Hitchcock. And so they show the flamethrower.
Oh, yeah,
and he talks
I knew that was coming.
And then like he decides to torch the chick who just ran through the plate glass window.
The second she fell into the pool, I went, I know where this is going. I knew immediately what was going to happen.
Well, he runs out of the pool all scared, and then he comes back like a badass and just fucking just like torches her. And then when he's talking to the neighbor, he's like, yeah, and I torched one of them. The guy's like, you torched her? What? He goes,
I got a flamethrower
I got
in my tool shed.
it's the tool.
that movie?
Yeah, it was the tool shed. Is it like it wasn't a garage? I don't know. There's something funny about a flamethrower in your tool shed.
It's just like, let's see, mow the lawn, let's see, flamethrower. No, I'll just use the edger. It's fine. Like,
You gotta save the flamethrower when the weeds get too tall.
I mean, there's so many moments in the movie that are really funny and very Tarantino-esque that I really loved watching. But it just never, there is no narrative. And if you're fine with that, then you're going to love this movie. But I maybe it's because I love structure and I love story that it just, at the end of the movie, I was like, that was a fun ride, but it was completely pointless. And if Tarantino hadn't, if his name wasn't attached to it, if this wasn't the 9th film by Quentin Tarantino.
Or if it didn't have 20 like A-list actors in it for a minute apiece.
Yeah, who gets fucking Al Pacino for 2 scenes? Or Kurt Russell for a scene and a half?
Yeah.
You know, or Luke Perry basically came out of retirement. I know he wasn't retired, but he came back and did a movie. He's in half a scene.
Yeah.
Like, just to go down the list, like Bruce Dern. He's one scene in a bed. Like Dakota Fanning, you know, she just plays one of the Manson. Timothy Olyphant in basically one scene.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just
like-
the one scene where they're like hanging out and
Oh,
talking.
and Damian Lewis as
Steve McQueen.
who looked crazy like Steve McQueen.
That was so good. And the whole point of him being there was to be like, hey, this is Steve McQueen. I know it's, Damian Lewis, but it's Steve McQueen because they tell you on screen.
Even though he
And
looks
then
just
he's
like
just
him.
there to be like, she was engaged to him and then went to make a movie with him and broke off her engagement to him and is married to him now, and the three of them all hang out in the same house.
So
That was it. He was just there to like blur.
this is what bothers me about like
a plot
Tarantino.
line that never went anywhere.
It's right. It was pointless, and it's just blatant, horrible expositional dialogue. But because it's fucking Damian Lewis pretending to be Steve McQueen in a Tarantino movie, suddenly it's okay just to say, "Here's what's happening," and to have random voiceover that you could do without. Like if anyone else was doing it, they would have been laughed out of town. There's no way this script would have even been greenlit had it not been Quentin Tarantino.
I bet you there's going to be a director's cut that's going to be an hour longer that's going to come out somewhere that's going to tie up some of those.
Well, he already re-edited it since what was it, Cannes last year?
Okay.
He added a few more minutes to it or something.
Fucking, of course he did.
Probably.
I mean, like,
Not enough feet smushed up against dashboards.
it's a really fun. I mean, yeah, Michael Madsen makes a cameo in there, but barely. He's in like
One
a
of the
moment.
scenes, yeah.
He's in a moment. It's Clifton
like-
Collins.
I feel like Tarantino's one of those directors who says like word gets out around Hollywood that he's making a film, and so a lot of people want to get in on it, and so a lot of people go, yeah, sure, I'll do whatever part, and they're like, it's a small part, it's only like a minute long, like you're gonna get paid like the low rate or whatever. And they're like, it's fine. I want in.
That'll be
And
a
so
Tarantino film.
they get a lot of people that get in there and they kind of get that checkbox. Like on
Each movie of his is just more fan service.
Sure.
Like, if you're not a big Tarantino fan, you're probably not going to get a lot out of this movie. Or you probably didn't get a lot out of this movie. If you love Tarantino and you love those inside jokes and those little callbacks and the Tarantino banter.
Or if you really just love old Hollywood.
I do love old Hollywood, and that's why I love, like, Hail Caesar. This is kind of that, but it's I don't know. It didn't.
For both of those movies being kind of misses, Hail Caesar's closer to the mark.
Oh, totally. Because there's an actual discernible plot line. I could tell you in 2 sentences what that movie's about. This, I can say, it's a movie about Hollywood in 1969.
Kind of.
Yeah, right. Kind of. Right. But you're like, yeah.
It's also about just like an out-of-work stuntman who's hanging out with his buddy.
Yeah.
And it's also about...
The neighbors.
They go on adventures, but there's never really any real adventure.
And they have to go to Europe for a while to make some spaghetti westerns so he can be a leading man again.
This would have been way more interesting if, like, a murder fell into their lap and the two of them had to solve it.
Yeah. Or if you know, they just accidentally like are hanging out with these cool hippie chicks and then like far too late they realize, oh no, this is a murder cult. like and at the point they're handing out knives, they're like, we're in way too deep. Like this was, we took some drugs and now here we are. This is bad. Like that had been like a
Rick
fun
Dalton
movie.
trying to cover up. Like, what if it was Rick Dalton trying to help Brad Pitt cover up the murder of his wife? Because Brad Pitt kills his wife with the fucking harpoon gun.
That's for sure what happened.
During that scene, I was waiting for the gun to
And
go.
it never goes off.
I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be
I'm
bad."
glad it didn't, though.
I'm glad it didn't
that
too.
there's a little bit of that mystery.
But you're waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, you're waiting for it to get hit and be like, you just shot me with a harpoon gun. Like, that would have been the most Tarantino thing. And it never devolves in that. This entire movie is subverting Tarantino expectations. This is actually, to me, this feels like Jackie Brown, but without the, like, 6 movies that came after. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know.
At a certain point, do you think it's Tarantino fucking with the audience?
I think it's Tarantino just
I
wanting
think
to put
that's
feet
his
in movies.
favorite thing to do. Both of those.
Yeah. I think it's, how many inside jokes can I put in there? How many stars can I pack in there for no goddamn reason? And what's the least story I can get away with?
Yeah. Like I said, I think he likes to do things in the name of subverting expectation.
Sure.
You know, just my mini rant on the Kill Bill movies is the first one was set up and advertised to be this action film. And it's a satire on like Japanese anime action films and stuff. And so it's just like way over the top. It's crazy. And the second one was like, get ready for some more satire. And it's really grounded. And you're like...
So it's a Western.
Yeah.
They're two totally different movies.
And so they just like lead you to believe this movie's going to be this. It hits you with something else. Hey, this movie, now that you know what you're expecting, is now something else.
Right.
So this whole movie is like scenes of like, oh, you think this movie's going to be this, but now it's something else. Oh, you think it's going to be that now, and now it's something. And it just does that because he enjoys doing it.
So moving forward with Tarantino, we're talking about possibly doing a Star Trek film.
Yeah. I was really excited about Star Trek because I would love to see his take on it because I'm sure he's going to go back to the original series. It'll be something kind of similar to that, but with a lot more N-words, a lot more fucks, and a lot more stabbings. Which I'm interested. I'd like to see. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see what that looks like. But after this movie, I'm like, Star Trek needs a plot. Like, for all the faults of the original series, at least Kurt had a mission every time.
That mission to find hot alien babes and then seduce them.
Right, and then kill green men.
Anything that looks reptilian in nature.
Final thoughts.
Overall, I think I liked it overall. I would like to see it a couple more times just to kind of let it kind of sink in.
3 hours, though. A couple times, that's 6 to 9 hours.
Is it 3 hours?
Well, okay, it was
252,
160
45.
minutes.
Okay, maybe at least one more time.
It's definitely a movie that could use a haircut.
It definitely could use a haircut. I think there were some really great scenes in there. They could have cut a good half hour out of that easily. And
Yeah, they could have cut Margot Robbie out and it would have been the same movie.
Yeah. They could have kept it to a tight 2 hours, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, just kept the best bits.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of really great moments in there. This is a movie of great moments.
We're saying they could cut Margot Robbie out of the film and had been fine. She did a great job.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Her character was really interesting and stuff. I wanted to see where her character's story was going to go.
Taken her out or added more to her.
Yeah.
But it just
They could have easily have taken out some other plot and added more to that. And
But just it keeps cutting to her watching a movie and doing these other things that never. It's nothing. It's nothing.
hanging out, packing for some trip you never see them
And
take.
I would be absolutely uninterested if it wasn't Margot Robbie,
Yeah.
who's A, an amazing actor, and B, really nice to look at on screen. Like if it was anyone else, you probably wouldn't be that interested, and you couldn't pull it off. This is a movie that would be unwatchable if it wasn't for Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie, plus the all-star like cameo cast. Like everyone in the movie is someone you know and you've heard of and you like.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for all that, like this movie wouldn't have been like I'd say it had a weak script, but I'm not even sure there was a script.
Yeah, it's hard to say. There's the groundworks for like 3 really cool movies here.
Yeah. A lot of false starts.
And just nothing built up from it. I don't know. Again, I don't think I dislike it. Again, I think it's going to be a movie that I could go to a party, someone could put on the TV, and I could tune in for the parts I really like and tune out for the parts I go, I know nothing really happens here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put it on when I'm cleaning the house. Yeah, okay. So we liked it. Not a must-see. It's fun, really funny.
Yeah.
Great scenes.
If you're a big Tarantino fan, you're going to like it.
Not
It's
his
gonna
best
be-
movie, though.
No. It's the mid-road, middle of the pack.
Yeah, there's a lot of Tarantino movies I'd watch well before this. So,
Yep. For sure. Agreed.
all right. So that was Whiskey Movie Club. If you disagreed with us, if you're a Tarantino fan, you're probably going to tell us what a worthless piece of shit we are, and you're going to call me a ginger fuck. Comment below and let us know. Yeah. Follow us at Whiskey Movie Club. You are Captain Frucci.
Yep.
Captain Frucci.
Twitter and Instagram.
JD Night Films, Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm Real Jason Miller. Thank you for watching, and here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
Cheers.
Pretty sure I'm keeping it. I like that a lot.
Just gonna stick with
Is there a better movie sign off? Yeah. I mean, you go, here's looking to you, kid. Oh, while that's my favorite movie, it's kind of douchey.
Yeah, it is. It's a little overused.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Do you think of a better...
Sign off.
Let us know what
classy.
sign offs we
What's a
should.
great-
Oh, stay classy, San Diego.
Stay classy,
How are
San
we
Diego.
not using stay classy, San Diego? We're not in San Diego.
No, we're not. We are California. I think that's a wrap. I
Yeah,
don't
pretty
really.
much.
Yeah,
I don't know.
let's just keep drinking and go watch Hot Fuzz again.